Tonight on Colonial Sports Center, we hit the Island Sports Center for some, oh yeah, Christian Boucher had a little bit of a rough weekend. Men's ice hockey versus Bemidji State Beavers. Ryan Hobie Baker Crothers in action, plus hoops action. Can the Colonials and Tony Lee mash up with Shaq and make this one a 10-game winning streak? Plus the Lady Colonials, yeah, they are on a streak as well. So guess what? We even have some curling. Remember, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Colonial Sports Center starts right now. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to a very active Colonial Sports Center. I'm Andrew Chiappese. She's Kelly Burke. And yes, they did it. 10 games in a row for the Robert Morris Colonials, a 69-66 victory tonight over Mount St. Mary's.
But the men's team aren't the only one on a hot streak. The women are as well, and we'll have more of that later. But first, let's head back to the court right now.
Yeah, we're going to actually go back to last Saturday. 9 games in a row entering tonight, now 10. And the Colonials have done it basically via every method possible. Blowouts, squeakers, sloppy games like tonight, and absolute masterpieces. Individual accomplishments, team accomplishments, all piled up by the Colonials. They continued their streaking in Brooklyn against St. Francis, New York. We go there. Tony Lee is a very determined man. Yeah, even Coach Rice can't get in his way. Colonials would control the ball from the opening tip, and it all started with Jeremy Chappelle. 3-0 early on as he drains his one of only a couple shots that he had all game long. Then Jimmy Langhurst, he gets in on the long ball fun. Make it 11. 11-0 Colonials. The Terriers would get on the board, but Langhurst, again, touchdown. 14-2 RMU early on. It's not over. Mezi Nwegwe off the bench, 16-2. Tony Lee rebounded the dish to Gary Wallace. 20-2 run for Robert Morris to start the game. The Colonials would need every bit of that cushion because here come the Terriers. Robert Hines, 25 points on the day, gets 2 there. The Colonials, in turn, step up the D. Lee, 4 steals on the day, gets up and slams it down. He doesn't dunk very often. He's only 6 foot. Mike Rice likes it. The lead, yeah, well, they let their foot off the gas just a little bit. Hines answers with a jam of his own. It's 37-24 now. Wait for it. There it is. The Colonials lead down to 13, but Pateco Francisco tries. Tony Lee finishes. Colonials and Terriers still battling. Down to an 8-point lead. Jamal Womack and 1. It's a 5-point lead, but RMU had an answer all night long. Chappelle had 8 points, but a big shot at the end, then Lee. Mr. Triple-Double didn't get it 3 times in a row. 2 would have to suffice. Finishes it off with 17 points, and the Colonials able to squeak one out in Brooklyn. Tony Lee did have 17 points and 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Again, does not complete the 3 straight triple-doubles, which had never been done. Robert Morris, 21-6, entering the night atop the Northeast Conference. And Nazari Dorosh checked in with Tony Lee regarding those triple-doubles.
And individually, joining the ranks of Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, and David Edwards, RMU's own senior guard, Tony Lee, becomes the 6th player in NCAA Division I history to post a triple-double in back-to-back games. Coach Mike Rice comments on Lee's hard work and how it's been affecting the rest of the team.
The different things that we did and the drills that we did and the communication we had between us. Every single game, every single day of practice, because he's so tremendous. It's too easy for him on offense. With him and AJ and Jeremy, they're so talented, and they can make a play on, they'll go 1 on 3 and still score. They're tremendously physically talented individuals that have bought in for the most part, that our formula of playing defense.
With over 1,300 career points, RMU's active leading scorer commented on the impact of his current achievements.
I mean, honestly, it hasn't hit me yet. It hasn't hit me yet. Maybe it'll hit me probably senior night or when it's all over, but honestly, right now, it hasn't hit me yet.
But the Northeast Conference leader in assists and steals refuses to take all the credit for the team's success.
A lot of people might think I'm the MVP, but I think AJ's the MVP because we couldn't do this without AJ. And if AJ was selfish and on the island like he was last year, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be 21-6.
With their 9-game winning streak, Robert Morris's future looks bright as they sit in first place of the NEC. Reporting from the Charles L. Soul Center, Nazari Dorash, Colonial Sports Center.
Thanks, Nazari. Tony Lee has been a monster, and we do have statistical evidence to back that up. 77 career double-figure scoring games, 30 in the NCAA this year with almost 3 steals per game, and of course that back-to-back triple-double. Only 5 other Division I basketball players have had back-to-back triple-doubles. Take a look at the company that Tony Lee did just join. David Edwards, Gerald Lewis, okay, maybe not quite. Kevin Robertson, yeah. But then you see Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway. I mean, those are some major talents, and Tony Lee has joined them.
Moving over to the women's team, the girls hit the road last Saturday with 8 straight wins under their belt and started things off at St. Francis of New York. Despite struggling from both the foul line and from behind the arc, the Colonials pulled out a 4-point win and set out to make it 10. 2 days later, they did just that at Central Connecticut State. Let's take a look at how some things played out for the ladies. Logan and Nesbitt combined for 42 of the points. They won 59-55 in Game 1 against St. Francis. And Tiffany Hill of St. Francis, 16 points and 3 rebounds on the night. Second game against Central Connecticut State. Nesbitt again and Logan again. 23 points for Nesbitt, 12 for Logan. Sad but true, that's a low game for Logan. 68-56 victory over CCSU. Our producer Scott Golmick caught up with Charlie Biscaglia after the game. Let's take a look at that.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm joined by assistant coach Charlie Biscaglia. Coach, usually you can see the true character of a team when they have to overcome adversity. And this weekend, really, maybe not the best play, but you still found a way to win.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be tough going out there in New York for, this is our several trips out there this year. And we knew we were going to have a tough time going out there and get 2 wins again just because we've been on the road so much this year. But, even though we didn't get the average points by Charday she usually puts up, we still came up big in the end and closed out the games.
Now, only a couple games left in the regular season. How are you looking to position yourself to get a better seed maybe in the NEC tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we had a 10-game winning streak right now, and the record's been great. But, we got to win the last 4 to really control our own destiny to get, at least the number 2 seed. It's going to be a big last weekend out there, and, we obviously have 2 at home now this week. So, these games all mean so much, and if we could just stay focused and put ourselves in position to go out there next weekend and get that number 2 seed, you might be seeing us come back home for the championship game.
All right, Coach, good luck this weekend. Send it back to the desk.
As we said, it's a 10-game streak that broke the record that was set back in 81-82 season and the 83-84 season, and also last year's team close behind with an 8-game streak. Here's a look at the final standings right now. Quinnipiac still leading the conference 13-1. Overall, they're 21-3, while Robert Morris is right behind Sacred Heart at 12-2 in the NEC. The weekly Logan Watch continues. She now leads the NCAA in 3 points per game. She has 96 3-pointers this season already. She is 15th in the NCAA in 3 points percentage and the single season scoring record of 637.
Back and forth we go. Men's and women's teams both with 10-game streaks, but we're going to set that aside and play a little hockey.
Yeah, let's hit that ice when we return in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Once. No, sir.
Sorry.
Is that over the shoulder enough? You guys can hear him, right? Like all the time.
Okay, so you added on the scoreboard shot, the Bateko charity stripe shot, And Tony Lee taking the ball and chucking it. Aye, Captain. Right to Rice. And my sexy mug. Alrighty, we'll worry about that and see. Gotta get through B block. Woo!
This seems like a long minute.
It's two.
Oh, was it? Oh, shit. I said we'd be back. I hear too much of
30 seconds, guys.
Sorry.
Oh.
15.
Two teams in the CHA battled on the ice this past weekend as Robert Morris looked to pull within 1 point in the standings. The Colonials were led by the Offensive Player of the Week, Ryan Crothers, and Rookie of the Week, Denny Urban. Let's head into Game 1. Coach Scully and the boys all tied up at 1 heading into the second period. Dave Cowan finds Sean Bergstresser, and he finds the top of the net. That's 9 on the year for Bergstresser. That's how he finished up last season. And Evgeny Malkin in the stands, and he's liking it. Superman that. Christian Boucher showing that he can play a little defense. Unfortunately, it didn't last all weekend. He had a good game Friday. We'll talk about Saturday later. Here he is again. Tyler Scofield almost ties the game up. Logan Biddle lays out in front on defense, and the Colonials held them. Jason Towsley with the slap shot. All he finds is the goalie's pad. Tom Beyondich is going to pick up the garbage. He puts it in, his 5th goal of the season. That is his season best, 5 goals in the 4 years he's played at Robert Morris. Captain Ryan Crothers playing a little defense. Now watch him try to throw the goal into the net. I don't think you can do that. But he's not done, don't worry. Scofield again, there's a chance this puck won't go in, so he might as well go in the net. That doesn't count either. Boucher was all right, just a little angry. Crothers refuses to finish the game without a point. Here's one shorthanded. That puts him in the lead of another scoring category. Colonials go on for the 4-1 victory. Dan Yost caught up with Ryan between games. Here he is, Dan.
The team right now after last night's win.
Team's feeling pretty good. We're confident right now. We thought we played well the whole game. We had, one collapse and they scored, and we thought we played a great game as a team, and it was a whole team effort. Everyone was scoring, everyone was playing well, and we're feeling good about ourselves going into tonight's game.
Can you take us back to last night's shorthanded goal you had in the third period against them?
It was a big goal. It was a great play by Logan Biddle. He carried the puck in. He waited for me to come in the zone, and then I was able to, put it upstairs, and that kind of, put the topping on the cake and sealed the deal and put us up by 3 with just a little bit of time left.
Given that they're in first place and Rob Morris in second, can you tell us how important this weekend series is with Bemidji State?
Oh, it's a huge weekend for us. Whoever's going to win tonight, that's going to kind of decide who comes in first place, as long as we could beat Niagara next weekend. And right now we just got to take this game, and hopefully it'll turn out for the best at the end here.
Okay, thanks for your time, Ryan.
The women's team headed to Detroit to face the number 10 ranked team at Wayne State this past weekend, who happens to be leading the CHA as well. The 2-1 victory in Game 1 was the biggest win in program history and moved the Colonials into 3rd place into the conference. Game 2 didn't fare as well, but let's head back to the men's Game 2 and see what AJ has for us.
Yeah, back down the aisle, Colonials smell blood. Unfortunately, it would be their own. Started off well. Kyle Burton cleaning up after Crothers and Margot, and 1-0 RMU, Robert Morris in front. But here come the Beavers. Boucher left in Monroeville. Matt Pope ties it at 1. Then Joey Magoosh. And it's going to end up finding the puck, but this is unfortunately the wrong highlight, which would explain why we did not see Christian Boucher getting left in Monroeville. The Colonials had troubles all night, Saturday night, and in turn, this is how the CHA men's standings shake out. Bemidji State 11-4-3, still atop the Northeast Conference. Robert Morris and Niagara battling it out for second and third. Wayne State, Alabama, Huntsville bringing up the rear. Senior forward Ryan Crothers, in the meantime, well, he's still doing quite well. He's up for the Hobie Baker Award, representing the top NCAA player in the nation. The trophy was first unveiled in 1981 and is given to someone who shows strength of character both on and off the ice. While Ryan was leading the votes through January by a large margin, he needs your help now. Simply go to hobiebaker.com or join his Facebook group to vote for him for the first phase of voting, which runs through March 9th, narrowing the list to 10, which will be announced on March 15th. And here's a look at the Hobie Baker standings right now. Ryan Crothers still in 5th position, way behind Michael Lee Teslek, a little-known goaltender from Michigan Tech, getting some help from those Michigan Tech engineering students. Ryan Jones and Justin Mercier, as well as Jeff Zakoff from a very good Miami team, also in there.
Here's a look at what some of the women have been doing on the ice. They're the first win of a ranked opponent in the program history. They're now 2-6-0, which is 3rd place in the CHA. McLaughlin once again was named the CHA Defensive Player of the Week.
Well, okay, hockey's done. We're through that. We're going to go back to the court, and we'll get back to more of that. Again, 69-66, Robert Morris wins tonight. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Now that the dust has settled from my sprint back over here from the Soul Center, we bring you highlights from tonight's basketball game between the Red Hot Colonials and Mount St. Mary's. The Colonials won 69-66. I want to say 90 for some reason. And here's how it happened. It was a close one. The Colonials battling it out, and Tony Lee, he's been red hot for Robert Morris, and he helps him out early on inside the A.J. Jackson, who drives baseline. The Colonials would find things inside early on. That would be the only way, outside of a few Jimmy Langhurst threes just like that the Colonials would get points. They had trouble with those pesky rims at the Charles L. Soul Center. A.J. Jackson able to find a three, though. It was a mixed bag early on because the Mountaineers were able to stay right with Robert Morris, Chris Van, Jeremy Good, all doing well. Mike Rice, he's not doing too well. He's not happy with the performance. But Iffy Iram and Tony Lee combined on an inside play. Iram couldn't get to go. Lee did. He was all over the boards tonight. Tony Lee, not exactly the smartest of plays throughout the night, but found Jeremy Chappelle there, and then Mezier Nwigwe feeding Gary Wallace, who was an absolute monster. The freshman really coming up for the Colonials big tonight. He and Bateko Francisco had tremendous games. So did Mezier Nwigwe off of the bench. He hit a jumper. Robert Morris went out to a 36-34 lead in the first half. They would fight and scrap their way. Tony Lee would lay one up and in, and then we would go to the final couple seconds. Take a look. Bateko Francisco at the line with a chance to give the Colonials a 3-point lead with under 10 seconds left. He nails it. So the Mountaineers would come back the other way, down by 3. With great three-point shooters on the team, Chris Van and Jeremy Good. It would be Van with the shot. He would miss it. Tony Lee, baseball pass. The Colonials would come away with a squeaker of a victory, 69-66. I caught up with Mike Rice after the game.
They're never easy in the Northeast Conference, but you guys are now on a 10-game win streak. You guys were able to squeeze this one out. Your defense helped you in the end. When you look at your defense and you look at guys like Gary Wallace and Bateko Francisco stepping up with Jeremy Chappelle out, what does that mean for your team?
Well, it shows you the confidence I had in some of our subs. You take out Tony and AJ, who I thought were kind of fatigued, and they got a couple of stops. They hit a 3, but in the end, that's what wins ball games. You got to defend. You got to be able to defend for 40 minutes as hard as you can. And it wasn't our best performance tonight, but again, I don't. They came in here fighting for 4th place, and now we have a big game on Saturday. So we're going to get better for the negatives that happened today, and see what happens on a big game on Saturday.
It is a big game.
Kelly.
What do you want to say to fans to make sure that they come out, and what do you say to your team to make sure that they are of ample energy and ample effort on Saturday?
Well, there's no question. The more people and the more energy we feed off of, and this is a special team. I might have to go room to room with some of these students here because I don't know if they know that. It's a special year. They're doing things that's never been done with in this program before at this school. So it's going to be. It's for 1st place. If there's nobody in the gym, we'll be ready to play. Our senior night, all the things that are at stake. But it would be nice to have a nice turnout for AJ and Tony and Freddie.
10-game win streak, 22-6. Congratulations, Mike Rice. We'll see you on Saturday on Channel 98 RMU-TV.
Be a big one. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
The Colonials have been celebrating Thirsty Thursdays in their own fashion this season. Thanks, Jim Duzick. Before tonight, the Colonials were 7-0 when playing on a Thursday night this year. They averaged 75.9 points per game and have beaten their opponents by an average of 16.4 points. And now here's a look at what the Colonials have coming up as they wrap up the season and head to the NEC tournament. Central Connecticut State and St. Francis, Mount St. Mary's, they're done. The big one is Saturday against Wagner here at the Charles L. Soule Center, and then they wrap up with another big one at Sacred Heart. The Colonials have only lost once in the month of in 2008, and that was the Sacred Heart. And then they finish it up with the Long Island. Matt Davies has more on the Colonials and what they'll need on this swing of games, their bench.
Building a champion, don't forget to add the following ingredients: offense, defense, and something that's outside the lines. Coach Mike Rice has more on the team outlook.
It's been a process of kind of getting everybody on the same page with the seniors, the upperclassmen, our coaching staff, all kind of, there was a lot of individual meetings. There was a lot of explaining and writing of what you want to do this year. And when it's self-police, when it's coming from one of their teammates, it means more.
Sometimes a quarrel or two in practice isn't a bad thing and needs to be settled without the head man stepping in.
We can't have no ego problems this year if we want to have a good season. And it's my last year, and I'm trying to have a great season. And so I had to put that ego to the side, and I did.
For most, December is the season of giving. For the Colonial basketball team, it was time for the taking and forging a new tradition.
Sometime in December, the light went on, and they just played harder. They understood what good teams, championship-level teams do, and that they improve every day.
So the foundation is set for the Colonials, but the foundation is only the start. How you finish is what's most important. Reporting for the Colonial basketball team, I'm Matt Davies, Colonial Sports Center.
Colonial's got more help from the bench tonight. Here's a look at how some of the guys off the bench have been producing with an average of over 18 points a game. Dallas Green has added 12 blocks, and Mezier Nwigwe is averaging about a minute and a half more playing time than he did last season. Colonial's basketball might be getting the publicity right now, but the football team is doing everything they can to retool for 2008. Recruiting coordinators and coaches Scott Farrison and Scott Benzel joined myself and Dan Yost on Andrew and Dan in the afternoon to discuss the new recruits. And as it breaks down, the Colonials have brought in a total of 22 recruits, 11 on each side of the ball. 5 wide receivers come in to replace Julian Ellison, Alvin Hill, and Mario Hines. 5 defensive linemen were brought in as well. And those were cited in our interview as being the main holes to fill. Take a look at some of these guys brought in. 2 big transfers. Alec DeMichelle, who's a local kid, 6'2", 240, transfers over from Temple. Steve Allen, a cornerback who's the brother of Will Allen, who plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a transfer from Army. Paul Evans, that big, rangy wide receiver that the Colonials could really use. He's from Elma, New York. And Steve Yoke, the 13th rated fullback, he's joining here as well. So it looks good so far. We have one more thing to get out of the way.
The asshat. I feel we're going to go back to the court. We've had a lot of basketball today. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Colonials Nation is caught up in hoops fervor, and rightfully so. Mike Rice's squad is perhaps the most exciting group of athletes in local basketball, and one of the most exciting in years. Just don't tell Colonials Nation to go watch the NBA. Then again, no one else is watching either. The Pro Hoops League suffered through its lowest rated All-Star game ever. But there's nothing in the press about how no one is watching Pro Hoops like there was about hockey dropping off the face of the earth. The Stanley Cup Finals last year were watched more than the NBA Finals. Why? Because the NBA is stifling its product in 2 ways, either preventing personalities from taking over or catering to their stars too much. Tony Lee gets a triple-double in 2 consecutive nights, and it's only been done by 5 or 6 others in college history. LeBron James does it just about every night in the NBA. The novelty is gone, just like the Superman dunk Dwight Howard pulled in the slam dunk competition. You almost never saw it. The NBA didn't want Howard to even participate because he's a big guy, and supposedly big guys can't get up off the floor and slam it home like the little guys. Oops. Wear the asshat proudly, you pro hoopsters. You're going to own it for a while.
Calling all Colonial crazies, here's some matchups that you have to look forward to in the upcoming days around campus. Be sure to catch the doubleheader men and women's basketball 4:30 on Saturday, and if not, there's men's ice hockey as well. And on that note, if you want more RMU-TV coverage for all things Bobby Moe, here's what you can watch. RMU Live News, Tuesday and Thursdays 5:30, Thursday CSC at 9:30, and RMU Tonight at 10:05. And Andrew and Dan in the afternoon radio show, Monday and Friday, live 3 to 5. There's some guests this week. Be sure to tune in to the newly and highly rated RMU Radio.
I don't know about highly rated, but Eric Hall from the Beaver County Times on the show, as well as Nate Handrahan from women's hockey. Bill Romango on this show next week. We'll see you then. See you Saturday as well. Be there.